let's move on now to incorporating the ankle depth with the knee depth. In order to do that, we need to introduce a particular tactic called the Trinity. The Trinity principle is much more than just a technical array of attacks. The Trinity principle needs to be a training protocol. And what does this mean? When you think about Trinity, Trinity is not 3 subsequent actions. It's not 3 beats. It's 3 in 1. 3 particular maneuvers in one total motion. The Trinity has to occur in 3 different directions. It's not something where you have the intention to do one thing, then you restart and have an intention to do another, then you have the intention to do another. When we talk in flow fighting, I'm going to introduce the concept of bound flow. In bound flow, you're binding your flow, your ability to continue to stay in motion, is bound every time that your intention to do one thing occurs. So if you mean to throw your cross, and then you want to come back and throw jab, 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 cross, each time that technique ends, you're at the binding of your flow. To stay in flow, you want to minimize how much time occurs between one technique and the next. So the Trinity principle is introduced as a training protocol. You have to do 3 attacks with 1 motion. 3 things in 1. With fisticuffs, in fisticuffs we talked about this being useful in the upper architecture. The ability to apply blows from the arms, 3 in 1. The same thing is going to be in your lower architecture. Yes, it will be technical, but remember, it's a training tool. It's not a technique. I'm going to use my Trinity strike. If you think of it as a technique, well, you just sucked every ounce of training value out of it. There's no way that you're going to be able to use a Trinity strike. Why? Because the conscious mind can only do one thing at one time. So if you're applying the Trinity strike, you're doing 3 strikes. Show me a person that can think of 3 things at the same time, and I'll show you an enlightened being. Since I'm not one and you're not one, let's understand that Trinity is a training tool. When you're in the fluid drills, your job is to stay in flow using 3 things at the same time. And I'm going to show you what I mean with some technical examples, but remember, don't take these and rehearse them. This is a training tool. You want to repeat them a couple times so you understand how to stay in subsequent motion. And then your job is, after 25 reps or 5 minutes, take it in flow in a fluid drill and apply it yourself. To look at the Trinity in technical examples, can you give me this as a lead leg? Now, suppose we're here at elbow depth. Knee, ankle, shin. 1, 2, 3. If you just look at this technical example, the binding of flow is minimal because opportunity meets preparation to continue. I could continue in this motor set and just keep on pounding away. The unfortunate part is I'm vulnerable here and here. And it's not a physical thing. As I'm preparing to launch here, I'm vulnerable. At the beginning and ending of every attack, I have the intention to apply an attack, where I need the reorientation to launch another attack. However, one, two, three. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. If the leg continues to apply attacks, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. You begin to what? Saturate. So your initial shock then gains the training protocol of a Trinity. So a useful tool is, come back down here. You're in this elbow depth. Up here. In order for you to apply any attack, it has to have 3 subsequent motions. So you start with soft work. I do 1, 2, 3. Then Dan goes. He has to do 1, 2, 3. Then I go. 1, 2, 3. And he goes. 1, 2, 3. Okay, this is static, but we're together. Now let's do it fluid. So I step 1, 2, 3. He steps 1, 2, 3. Okay. It always needs work. You always make errors. But the point being, now, come upstairs for a second. Look. Here's your clinch. 4 elements. Locking arm power transfer. Now, as you move, you anchor this to your body. Now take a look downstairs. I'm going to do the same thing again. I anchor. 1, 2, 3. It's quasi-static. We're starting to go fluid. Okay? He pulls me. Then applies his trinity. We go back and forth. This soft work works on what? Your threshold of pain equals your threshold of fear reactivity. How defensively braced you are is how much impact you're going to receive if he's doing the trinity to me. And the second is how much fear reactivity in his body is how bound his flow will become. So if you try, I'll demonstrate. If you can come back downstairs. If I try and apply this and I'm really tense, 1, 2, 3, the tension in my leg actually prohibits sensitivity to what his body's doing. I need to remain loose in order to continue to capitalize on his particular unique movement. Come back up. I want you to see the whole picture. We come in, we get secure, and I get the protocol of shock, then saturate. We keep working the soft work drill back and forth, and then we make it a little hard work. The hard work will be, okay, now I'm here, and I'm going to be trying to defend, but we're still going to go in somewhat slow motion. I'm not going to allow him to chuck me down to the concrete, okay? He's going to move me. He has the protocol of a trinity, and I'm going to be defending, and then we'll alternate, and then I'll do the same to him, okay? Now it's my turn. Now it's my turn. Okay. The job is to take in this one step up for hard work. This one step up from hard work towards hard work is to take one segment of movement and now try and apply the Trinity principle. You're going to make mistakes because what? The goal of fluid drills are to make mistakes. You're supposed to make mistakes because it's in mitigating those errors the recovery process decreases. And that is where your toughness develops. Reference flow fighting. So we go back and forth. He pulls and does his trinity. I try and marginally defend, then I pull. He tries to defend. He pulls and does the same. In a moment, what we're going to do is we're going to make this really hard work, and then we're going to go symmetrical. At hip depth, we need to change the nature of our security. We need a shoulder depth, secure clinch. So, let me turn this way. Here, now, you can review fisticuffs. I'm not going to do this in depth because our focus is the lower limb architecture. However, just remember, grab the deltoid and pull it down, and in this case, pinch the middle of his upper arm. Now, this is different than what we were doing in fisticuffs because we weren't throwing any knee strikes, or any leg strikes for that matter. Okay, and as a matter of fact, we weren't throwing too many takedowns and throws. This, you want a good pec lat lock on his upper arm so you can continue to block his knees. Now, for instance, if he steps back with this leg, if you can come look down at Dan's leg, he's now cocked for a strike. I can pinch this underhook, and as he goes to knee, block him at the hip so that he can't administer this blow from this side. Go ahead. Really, no, Dan, come on, give me some juice. Come on. Okay, that's the goal. Now, if we come to this side, this knee's still free. If I come down and release this, he's got a superior hold. I'm in a bad way. However, if I hold here and he reaches back to knee, we can block across, almost like putting a bar across his hips. If you can see here, I'm putting it in the crease of his pelvis. That prevents the blow from being administered too harshly. Now, the next drill we're going to do is he's going to alternate from one to the other. So I need to time this and feel when he goes back for his knee. And which knees? Go ahead. And feel, yeah, there you go. I'm cheating. It's easy if you get a feel for it and you look at the monitor. Just kidding. My point being, you have to feel the weight transfer. The job for you is to get an accurate threat perception, as you see in flow fighting. Go ahead, reference, come back. The static drill's purpose is for you to develop accurate threat perception and application. When we're doing this drill, now what we'll do is, I'll go to throw my knee, he'll block it the way we just worked on. Then he goes to throw his knee, same knee. The way we just worked. Just once, please. Knee. Alternate. He throws the knee. Step back and get some juice into it. There you go. Now, unlike Dan, you don't want to keep your hand there the whole time. The reason being, because that could defeat the drill. I'm glad Dan did this because it has instructional value. If we keep the hand there, because we know that's the only attack he's going to do, we're removing the training value of gaining sensitivity. Why? If we expand this drill, keep your hand down. We expand the training drill to the other side. As he keeps his hand married to this hip, he would expose himself to that strike. But he's not in threat of that because of the limitations of this drill. That being so, you come back to your hold, your hand's in the center, okay? He goes to knee. I have to place it when I feel his weight transfer. I go to knee. He goes to knee. Other knee. There you go. And so on. Then what you want to do is you want to add that so you're alternating back and forth and making mistakes. Making mistakes. That's your goal. So that you can feel where the errors are and minimize how much frustration you experience and how rapidly you are able to transfer from absorbing a blow to continuing through with the flow of the exercise. Remember, you want to unbind your flow.